Hey everybody, and thank you so much for clicking on this video and joining me in my 3 Looks 1 palette with the Norvina Volume 3 palette. I'm really excited to get to do a couple of looks with this because since I've received it, I've been enjoying using it. Something new in my collection, something different. And I wanted to give you exactly my thoughts on the shadows and how they perform, the differences between the shadows within the palette. But this is what it looks like here. If you guys haven't seen this, I'm sure you've all seen this. This isn't new to anyone, I don't believe. It's new to me. So I have been out of the makeup game for a while, so this is relatively new to me. This is what the inside looks like. A lot of beautiful like reds, greens, yellows, oranges, just really beautiful shades that, like, honestly, when you look at this, there's purples, there's maroons. Like, to me, this is like an ideal look of a palette for me. So when I saw this, I was like, I gotta try this because I haven't tried any Norvina palettes. And I mean, the second one didn't really call out to me, but I wanted to try this. So this is sort of like my thoughts and everything on what it was for me. And I'm just the type of person that wears this kind of everyday look. Nothing too crazy. I do crazy looks, don't get me wrong. I do the crazy looks. But this is just more wearable stuff for every day. I have other looks on my channel with using this palette, and will have more using these Norvina palettes. But this is just a focus for the volume 3, and I wanted to make sure that I shared with you guys what my thoughts and everything were. So as I use these over the next couple days and do my 3 Looks 1 palette for you guys, I'll, at the end of this video, exactly tell you what my thoughts are and talk about the shades and my feelings and everything, though I do talk about that a little bit throughout. But of course, it's new to me, and so I just want to share with you as the days go on and I do my final 3 Looks 1 palette for you. I want to actually show you and share with you what my thoughts are on this palette. So thank you so much for clicking, and let's get started on the tutorial for the look on this and 2 other ones along with it. For my first look, I'm actually going to go in with the transition shade C3, and I'm going to combine that with B5, which I have been actually enjoying doing. It's a good transition shade when you pair the two together, so I just blend them in my crease really lightly. Although when I say really lightly, it goes on very, very dark, very, very fast. So you just have to use a little bit of product and build it up. It does blend out really nicely, and I'm using my EB13 brush from Sedona Lace. This is my go-to transition shade brush. And I don't have anything down on top of my primer. I'm using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I'll be using that in all of my looks. And it's pretty much the only primer that I use right now. I will be trying out some more in future, but it's the only one I use right now. And then what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to take, we'll go in with E2, which is this shade right here. I'm going to take my Y18 brush from Morphe. Just take that in the outer corner and the crease. Just want to deepen up that crease a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to take this shade right here, E4, which is a really nice bright yellow shade. And I'm going to take that on a large fluffy blending brush. This is my Sedona Lace 863 brush. And I'm only taking a very little bit, and I'm just going to blend out the top of my transition shade. So just blending that out on top to make sure that everything looks seamless. Go back in with actually the Sigma Blending E25 brush, and I'm going to go in with B5. It's one of the ones that I used in my transition area. I'm just going to take a very little bit of that and buff that out again in the crease. And I'm going to go back in with the yellow. I just want everything to blend out really nicely, so blending will take a while. I'm going to go back in with E2 and just build that up in my outer crease a little bit more. Now I'm going to go in with the shade D4, which is right here. And it's a really pretty shimmery, like rusty orange shade, which is really gorgeous. And I'm going to take shadow brush from Quo. It says eye contour, but I use this to lay product down. So I'm going to take D4 on that brush and just put that all over my lid. And then just taking E2 again and blending that out in the outer corner. And I'm also going to deepen up my crease again with the residue left on this brush and just lightly blend out those edges and bring some of that more warmth to the crease again. So for my brow bone, I'm going to take C1, which is such a really glittery cream shade. It has a lot of glitter on it, but I'm going to take that on a small paddle brush and just pull that along my brow. Then I'll just clean off my brush from Sedona Lace, the really large buffing brush. I'm just going to blend that out. So here is the first look finished. It's an incredibly easy to wear eyeshadow look. This shadow is just so beautiful. I just love the way everything blended together. It looks beautiful. I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see all I have is just a little bit of mascara on. Nothing too crazy. And it's just a very easy, very wearable look. I'm absolutely in love with the way that this turned out. So this is look 2. I'm going to start with A1 in the crease. And I'm going to use my Sigma Blending E25 brush. Next I'm going to go in with E1. And I'm going to take that all over my lid with my quill brush, which is just an eyeshadow paddle brush. There's a little bit of fallout with that color, so I'll have to try and clean that up a little bit after. I'm going to go back in with my E25 brush from Sigma and the same A1 color, and I'm just going to blend out the edges. So this is picking up the green color a lot, so it's making it look a little bit patchy. So I will have to go back in with the green and fill that in a little bit after. So now I'm going to take a little bit of both of those colors and sort of apply that and blend that out in the crease a bit. So now I'm going to go back in with the green and just lay some product down again, mostly on the outer portion. Next, I'm going to take E4, which is right here, that really nice bright yellow, and I'm going to blend the top of the other yellow that we used, just to blend that out just a little bit. I'm not taking a whole lot of product. I mostly just want that product to blend out a little bit without being too patchy and having too much color, because I do want this to be wearable at least. Back in with my E25 brush and that green, and I'm just going to blend out the outer portion of my eye and bring it up just a touch and smoke that outer corner out a little. I'm just extending the shadow out a little bit because my eyes are a little closer together, so I like to pull the shadow out just a hint. And then I'm going to go in with the shade C5. I'm just going to take that again on the paddle brush. I'm just going to clean it off a little bit here. And I'm going to take that all over the inner portion of the lid. I'm not sure how that's going to apply to the other color. It doesn't seem to be doing too much. It doesn't seem to be picking up a lot of that shimmery shade on the inner corner. It's doing okay. I kind of wanted it to look a little more, I thought it would look a little more with a gold shift on it, but it's not picking up as much as I thought it would. It just looks like the green underneath with a little bit of glitter in it. It's not terrible by any means, but it's definitely not what I had expected. I definitely want to deepen the outer corner, so I'm going to have to go in with a black from another palette because there isn't a black in that palette. So I'm just going to use Carbon from MAC, and I'm going to take my Sedona Lace 407 brush, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of that black in the outer corner. I'm going to go in with my big blending brush, which is my M513, and this is from Morphe. And I'm just going to take that green shade again, E5, and just lightly blend right over all of that. So this E1 shade in the bottom corner, the deeper green shade all over the lid, definitely has fallout for sure. And I don't normally wear green eyeshadow very much, so I'm gonna have to clean that up under my eyes. Of course, I've already done my under eye makeup. And normally I put the powder down if I do that, but today I kind of thought, well, I'll just play around with it and see what happens. But it is definitely, you can see it's definitely left a lot of powder underneath my eye, so that's a little disappointing. I'm going to go back in with that light green, yellow, and then the yellow, and just blend that out a little bit more. And I did want this to be a lot more wearable, but it just seems like it'll probably still be a really nice wearable summer look, but that green, it just, yeah. I'm just going to do my eye makeup off camera and I'll be right back. So I have a little friend who's joining me. I can hear my son in the background. I'm just going to go ahead and actually do underneath my eye because I'm not going to be able to wipe that stuff away. So before I do my liner and mascara, I'm going to clean up, or not clean up underneath, I'm actually going to add color to the underneath. So first what I'm going to do is take a really small definition short shadow brush. It's Morphe M408. It's just really short and really good for densely packing product underneath the eye. And I'm going to take that E1 green shade and bring that right across. I usually get teary eyes, so I don't normally put makeup underneath, but I definitely wanted to do that today. Is that right? Are you angry? Just gonna blend out with A1. I'm going to take an Urban Decay eyeshadow pencil in the shade LSD. It's like a blue, dark blue, like kind of sparkly. I don't really think I have anything green, so I'm just going to do this. So now I'm going to do my eyeliner and mascara and stuff, and I'll be right back. So I've added eyelashes. I was originally going to go without, but the mascara that I was using was hideous. So I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. The blending is okay. It was all right. I didn't spend a whole lot of time blending, so there are some pretty, like, I don't want to say like straight parts, like, but you can tell that there's a little bit of a line, so I could have spent a little more time blending it out. But essentially, I think the look is okay. I mean, not my favorite colors, of course. I don't usually wear greens or blues, but it's definitely a wearable look. It's like, it's okay. It's like, again, I wouldn't put this on and say like, I gotta go out and show everyone my eyeshadow look, because just, it's okay. But they didn't blend as well as I thought. So that being said, this is the second look. This is the second look with mascara and eyelashes, and I just used Demi Wispies from Ardell. We're going to go in for look 3 now. I'm going to go with purples and some reds and stuff today. Maybe a bit of orange because there's a couple orange colors here that I haven't really used. So what I'm going to do is start off, of course, I always do in my crease, B5 and B3. B3, and actually I'm going to go in right here, this one here. So those two combined. Sorry, I'm super close in, so it's really hard to show you guys. But I'm going to take my EB13 brush. This is my staple brush. You'll see it a lot on my channel. I'm taking a very little bit of that because I do know this is hella pigmented. And I just want to throw that to soften up the crease a little. Now I'm going to go in with my, again, same brushes I have been using because they've been really good so far with this palette. So the Morphe Y18 brush. A little bit of C2. It's a really nice matte red shade, so I'm going to take that and again put that in my crease just over top of that other shade. Little by little, again, I have to like slowly pack this on because, you know, it's really pigmented. I've been really excited and wanting to try this red shade out, and it's really good. It's more of like an orangey red, so it's not so cherry red, which is the one that I would actually prefer. I would prefer a more cherry red color, but I feel like this will be a pretty nice shade to play around with. For the next color, I'm going to go in with, I think I'm going to do E2, which is right here. So I'm going to take that just tight in my crease and outer corner and buff that out. And I'm not really like trying to do too much of a windshield wiper motion with this because these pressed pigments are better if you don't blend them out too much. At least I've been finding. I think it will be better if I just pat this down in the outer corner and then take it through the crease, really tight in the crease. So next I'm going to go back in with the red shade that I used. It's C2, and I'm going to take my Sedona Lace 863 brush, which is just like a nice blending brush, very soft blending brush. And I've taken a little bit extra product on there. I'm going to dab it onto a Kleenex, and I'm going to lightly go in with that again, just where those two shades meet, and just kind of lightly blend that out. And I will have to go back onto the shade on my lid because it'll start to get patchy. So I just want to take those two shades and blend out the harsh line from that darker color I put down. Then I'm going to go back in with E2 and just lay some more product down where I feel like there came some patches. I think that looks okay for now. I'm going to continue on with that bigger 863 brush, the really nice soft blending brush. And I'm going to go in with E3, which is right here. It's a nice, kind of a bright but not as bright orange in the palette. Like, it's probably not the brightest, but it's one of the lightest oranges. And I'm going to dab a lot of that off and just take that right over top of that red shade that we put down and blend out the outer edges with almost nothing of product on the brush. There's a little bit, but it is just to keep the warmth in the red. You'll see it looks a lot more blended now, but it still has the warmth of that red shade without looking like a solid line on my eye. So I think the next thing I want to do is just go in with a nice glittery shade. I'm going to do my brow bone first, actually, because I'm still deciding between shades. I think I'm going to go in with a purple on my lid because I wanted to do purples today. And there is still a purpley shade I want, two of them I want to use, actually. So I'm going to take C1 first, which is that really glittery. It's like the only light, really light shade for brow bone and inner corner, I find. The other ones aren't so bad either, especially if you have like a little bit of a deeper complexion. But I'm still really, really light and haven't tanned yet from summer. So I have to go in with the lightest one for now. And it's just a little too glittery, I feel like. There's already so much going on with color that I will probably end up pairing this with another palette that I use faithfully. You guys, if you're familiar with my channel, you know what I'm talking about, but I'll talk about it at the end. But I'll probably end up pairing it because it's just very glittery. Next, I'm going to go in with the shade E5, which is this really pretty purple here. It's kind of like the shade that I put in my brow bone that has the glitter on it, but it's of course like deeper. It's a lot deeper and it's purple. So I'm going to take that on just a Quo shadow brush. It's a little bit too fluffy to be like just a paddle brush, but I find that it's nice for picking up glitters and stuff. So I'm going to take that on my inner corner. Now, it might be a good idea if you don't want the glitter to go everywhere, if you lay down a glitter glue base kind of thing. I'm not going to do that today because I'm trying to see how these work without that kind of stuff first. Because, of course, this is like my first impressions of this palette for this week. For just playing with it with different shades and all the shades that I've been using. So I want to get a feel for how they place without using any extra product except for just a typical eye primer. So I like how this looks already. I do want to use one more shade, of course, because I do want to go in with a little more purple. So I'm going to use B4. And that one I'm going to place just in between the two shades that I just laid down, but I want to go in really, really light because these have a lot of pigmentation. Obviously, they're pressed pigments, and I just want to make sure that what I'm laying down isn't going to like overtake the rest of the eye look. That's a really pretty shade. I really like that. It feels and kind of acts, from what I can tell, kind of like the pink shade that I did that's on the look that's already on my channel, the kind of crazy one. It kind of feels like that really nice pink shade. So I'm really liking it. And so far I like the way that these shadows look. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my eyes and I'll come back and show you what they look like. So this is the finished look. So I'm all zoomed out and I just wanted to apologize for the state of my face. I'm not putting face makeup on today because I just did a mask yesterday, which was probably a stupid idea not to wait until tonight. But I want to keep my face clear of product today, except for, of course, like my eyes. I wanted to make sure I got this look done. So here are my final thoughts on this product, this palette. So the ABH Norvina palette, I think it retails, I think it was $79 Canadian, and I think people said it's $60 US. So this is volume 3 again. So far my thoughts on the shadows are that they are incredibly pigmented and very beautiful. You get a good array, a good selection of colors in here. So I find that there is a lot of, like, there's different greens, there's different blues, you have beiges, you have creams, you have greens and oranges and pinks and purples and reds. I don't even know if I'm repeating this stuff, but you get a lot of shades and colors and stuff in here. You also have some glitter shades, so I'll just swatch a couple of those for you. There's a couple of the glitters. Now this pinky one is supposed to be like a blue-green, but it's shifting gold, so they all are kind of shifting from the light. So they all kind of look the same, but they're absolutely not the same. I think what you're getting is just the reflection of the light. They're all very, very pretty. And you can see the purple on the inner corner portion of my eye. Yeah, so far I'm enjoying this a lot. It actually really excites me, and it makes me want to play with this more and try a little more dramatic looks. I feel like the looks that I've done are a little more wearable considering the color of this palette. So this is sort of looks that people would just like throw on and go, you know, for a drink or grocery shopping or whatever. It's not really something that, I mean, you could dress this up more. You could put on more of a dramatic lash, put something underneath the eye, definitely add a little more sparkle, a little more color. But I feel like for kind of like a monochrome wearable look, I feel like these last three looks are very easy to do and blend really nicely together. Now, with the blending, I just feel like there's some patchiness that comes with these pressed pigments, and I think that's because there is a couple ingredients missing because they are strictly pressed pigments. So you're missing that ingredient that makes it blend better. That being said, you can still blend these well, and I think you can tell that with my shadows that I have today. Yesterday, or the green shade, the second look that I did, you can tell that there was a little bit of patchiness in the green, but I am also, I'm not a fan of green and blue eyeshadows to begin with because my eyes are blue, so I always gear toward more warm tone shadows, more reds and oranges and purples and stuff like that, and nudes, of course. But that being said, I can definitely pull off some looks using this, but there probably aren't shadows that I would gear towards. I would use the yellows for sure, but the greens and blues, there's not that many in this palette, so it's not that big of a deal for me, and it's something that I can just throw on a little bit if I want to for something interesting. But for myself, the blues and greens don't make sense. That being said, this is a really good palette, and I actually do feel it is worth the money. I would like it to be a little bit less, of course, but you're getting pigments again. You're going to get that impact. You're not going to have to use a lot of the shadow in order to get the result that you're looking for, so they will last a lot longer. And I definitely love the color selection in this palette. So I would definitely say probably a 4 out of 5, only because a couple of the shades I can't use and the price point. But I mean, in all reality, if you can use every single color, if you have brown eyes and you can rock every single color in this palette, I say go for it. And hey, if you have blue eyes or green eyes and you like wearing that, all power to you. It's just a personal opinion, and that's all this is my opinion. So I forgot a couple of things, which is why I'm wearing lipstick now, and you'll see that I have lipstick on and that I don't have lipstick on, whatever, bear with me. I wanted to mention a couple of things I forgot to mention earlier because I was closing off the video, and this was the amount of fallout that I had today. So what I do is I put my makeup remover on the wipe, I fold it into 4, like a little triangle, and I use one side for, of course, one side of my face, and then I use the other side for the other side of my face. So this is all that I had for fallout underneath, and also cleaning up under my eyes. So if I hadn't cleaned up under my eye, there would be very little product on my face. That is with mostly the warmer red kind of shades, red, purples, pinks. Those shades have very little fallout. Another thing is with creasing, I didn't notice, and I wore all of these looks, all 3 looks, from early in the morning probably till, I would say, anywhere between 6 to 9 hours after, so depending on, of course, which day. I think I wore the green the least because, of course, I wasn't a fan of the colors, just for myself. But that being said, there was very little creasing. One day I had some creasing. I think it was day 1, the first day I did the first look, and that's because I put setting spray on my face afterwards, and I had my eyes shut, I sprayed, and then I opened my eyes right away. And I think there was a little bit of wetness from the setting spray in my crease. So when I opened my eye, it sort of not, well, I guess bled a little, is probably the right term. But that being said, there was very little creasing. I've been wearing this now for a couple of hours. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And there is, again, I'll try and zoom in more. There is very little creasing at all. Very little creasing at all. So hopefully you can see that. Very little creasing. Very pretty colors. I have another palette. I have the volume 1, so I will do 3 looks 1 palette with that as well when I start using that, maybe next week or so. And then, spoiler alert, I did order volume 4, so that is on its way. I'm not getting volume 2 because it's all blues and greens and stuff, and I'm just not interested in that one. And I'm not collecting anymore, so I'm not looking to have every single palette from every single collection. So I will just have those 3, and I will tell you what I think on those as well. But I just want to thank you guys so much for taking a look at this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what your favorite look was, and if you have this palette and how you use it. I'd love to check out any kind of looks that you have done. But again, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it, or a dislike. That's totally fine too. I get it, it might not be your thing. Leave a comment, that would be great to hear from you, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later. Bye.